Let's talk about another super fun topic of risk and compliance. So, these are touchy items that are absolutely necessary to making sure that you are practicing strong, security, risk mitigation, you're following the rules, that you're doing all these things for sustainable growth. So point number one is that you are compliant with industry standard or industry specific requirements. So if you work, in biotech in a lab, for example, you might have CAP and CLIA governing you. If you're in time tracking, you might have like DCAA, if you want to work with the government. If if you're in software in general, you might have GDPR or CCPA type things. I am familiar with all of these and a whole lot more. So let's talk if you want some guidance and some, assistance in that area, but very, very important. So lots of things to look into for your particular industry, but they are out there and you definitely need to do it. Number two, you have a legal contact in place. So if you're a big enough company and you have a legal team, awesome. If you're not, I typically work with businesses on the smaller end where they might not and they have to work with a third party. So you really want to make sure that you have that contact and that you are regularly in contact with them so that you have someone to go to when these issues come up, because they will and they do. Point number three is you have a resource for security. So very similar. If you're a big enough company and you've got your security team, your information technology and all of that, you're great, you're good to go. But if you're not, there are lots of third parties out there, and I'm very familiar with those as well and completely, happy to help out with that. But it's more than just a one-time thing. A lot of times there is training involved with your team regularly that they can, provide to keep everyone up to speed with all the latest security threats that are going on out there. But you really need to have that proactive strategy. And a lot of times now, depending on the clients or customers you work with, a lot of people want your cybersecurity plan. They want, all these things. If you're going to go get an insurance for these things, you have to, because either customers are requiring it, or if you're in somebody's marketplace, they're requiring it. You want to partner with other businesses. So there's a lot of things to take into account, and a lot of times a third party can handle that, but it is something that you need to address. Point number four, you utilize software to assist with security, like password storage, for example. So are you doing that? Or are you guys writing Post-its with security or passwords? When someone, a new hire starts, I've seen at some places where things are on a Post-it and it's like, well, not ideal, but ideally you'd have a software of some sort. Keepersecurity.com is one that's pretty good. I've used that one in the past. And, anytime you've got credit card numbers or passwords, whatever it is, it's much better to use something like that where you can just send it through the system and there is no writing it down. There's no sending it in chat. There's no emailing it, nothing like that. It's just all done electronically and it's a much safer situation. So you want to make sure that you've got those types of tools in place. It's very important. Number five, you have business continuity and disaster recovery in place. So kind of like I was saying, when you start partnering with other businesses or, you've got different customers, they're going to ask you for these types of things because they want to make sure there's redundancy in place. They want to make sure that when you have an issue happen or your product, can't be produced or something like that, that there's something in place to make sure that the business keeps running. So again, this can be a third party who is doing something with this for you, but it's really important to know where to go for it. So it could be a natural disaster, the cyber attacks that are out there right now, some other type of disruptive event. But big customers in particular are really going to be looking at you to make sure you have those things in place. Point number six is employees are trained in all areas of risk mitigation. So it's really important too that when you do things like a GDPR or the CCPA, those privacy data acts, that the entire team who handles those things is competent in that area, because there are lots of little nuances. Like there's timelines that you have to reply to people by with particular things. The way you have to document things is very specific. So it's very important that the entire team knows exactly what they need to do with those things, and you've got someone designated to handle those particular items. Point number seven, you comply with OSHA requirements. Let's say, you're in an occupational safety and health administration umbrella that, has to follow those types of things. If you're in a software company, you probably don't so much because you're pretty much at a desk, or you might be working remotely from home. But if you are someone that has, warehousing, production, those types of things, you want to make sure that you are posting all the right posters and that you've got someone handling those workplace safety rules for everyone. And then point number 8, you have a knowledgeable lead in place for crisis management. So again, this goes back to having that business continuity planning. Do you have someone in place who can, during a crisis, respond with speed and being, the expert in the area to handle it? That person needs to be knowledgeable. They can coordinate response efforts. They can make those fast decisions. They can do the things they need to do, to report things where they need to go, get the right people in place, especially if it's something that happens like on a Saturday night. You need some sort of plan in place, like a phone tree type concept, whatever it might be, with those responsible parties. Point 9, you are up on market trends, looking out for new innovations all the time. Can you say that that is the case? So being proactive in understanding market trends and new innovation helps you to stay ahead of the competition. And it could be the latest technology. It could be shifting customer preferences. It could be staying informed to make sure that, you're pivoting when customer feedback changes, whatever it might be. You need to make sure that you are always on the lookout for that. And then point number 10, you regularly audit your risk factors. So I really am a big fan of a pestle analysis. So that's going to be the political, environmental, and I'm going to draw a blank, of course, the technological, the economical, the legal factors. I'm trying a blank on what the S is, but I think it might be social. But anyway, either way, it's a great framework to look through to make sure that you are assessing risks in all areas. So you're not forgetting the legal things that could impact you, the governmental type things. It's really easy to be in a business and think like, oh, there's no legal things affecting me, or there's nothing in the government right now, or in the economy, but there absolutely is in every business. You just have to think about it. It could be elections, it could be a whole bunch of different things, but there's lots of things to take into account, and you want to make sure that when you're doing these audits, you're not forgetting anything. So again, I have lots of experience in that area as well, and would be happy to talk more on that and what I can bring to your organization. So if you're ensuring compliance, you're prioritizing security, you're managing risks, you're protecting the future of the business, and you're fostering trust with your customers, employees, and stakeholders, everyone who matters. So let's talk more and let's connect.